So Rabino Yonah gives us a little bit of hope here. He says when you're doing tshuva, you're not going to know the entire Torah overnight. So a lot of people get very worried. Like, listen, some of the stuff that Chazal said is very scary. I don't know how to do all these things. I don't even know all these things exist. Rabino Yonah is saying, don't worry. If your actions are superior to your chokhmah, meaning everything you're learning, you're putting it into effect. You learn halachot Shabbat, you keep Shabbat. Whatever you learn, you do. You learn about modesty, you keep it. You learn about tzedakah, you keep it. You learn about anything else. Business, you keep it. Whatever you learn, you do. He says then your heart is in the right place. That's real tshuva. Rabino Yonah wrote a whole book about tshuva. Because how? Because it was his own tshuva. Over 20 years he did tshuva for a mistake he made about how he judged the Rambam. And he spent the rest of his life doing tshuva for it. But nonetheless, he's telling you all the things that you don't know, one of two things are going to happen. If your heart is in the wrong place, if the only reason you're getting involved into religion is because there's a possible business opportunity there. You're starting to go to the Knesset because there's a rich guy there you want to do business with. You're not really going to the Knesset to pray to Hashem. You're going to the Knesset so you could talk to Mr. So-and-so, so maybe he could buy your company, or maybe he can give you a job. You're giving tzedakah not because you want to help build the Beit Knesset or Sefer Torah or anything. You're giving it because you want to put a sign on the building so everybody knows Reuven built his Beit Knesset. Some people spend $100,000 on tzedakah and $400,000 on advertising the tzedakah. He says that, then chokhmato lo mitkayemet. All the knowledge that you have, not worth anything. But if your intentions are good, you try to do your best. I don't have much, but I have $50 I could donate for maybe help some avrech get through the month. I have $50 I could donate, maybe help people do some tshuva. I have $50, maybe get the guys a little bit of snacks for the shiur Torah. I have $50, maybe help this poor woman, lost her husband, miskena. Help her get through the month. You don't have much, but you give. Your intentions are good. So Rabino Yonah says, you get mitzvah for what you do, and you also get mitzvah for things you don't do. Because you're going to get to it. You're going to get to those things because you're continuing to learn. Not if you're just a nice guy. Nice guy just because you don't kill people doesn't really make you a nice guy. Talk about a nice guy based on Torah. You're learning, you're learning, you're learning. Rabino Yonah says you're in good shape. But if your heart is in the wrong place, you may be Erev Rav still. We still haven't discovered. We still haven't confirmed if you're Erev Rav or not. So now, the Chazal continues and says, "V'kol shechokhmato meruba mima'asav en chokhmato mitkayemet." Anyone whose wisdom exceeds his good deeds, the wisdom will not endure. Says someone that doesn't allow whatever he studies to shape his Torah, to shape his life, and change his conduct, is better off that he didn't study at all. If someone takes Torah, and he learns it every day, he comes, Rabbi Raphael, I want to learn halachot with you. I want to learn musar with you. I want to learn whatever. And he learns with him. And with the Metzirut Nefesh, the rabbi teaches him. But he sees the guy, still a thief, still immodest, still mechalel Shabbat. Nothing changed. We learn musar every Tuesday night. the guy still acts like an animal in the middle of the street. He's still yelling at people, still this. It's better off he didn't learn. It's better off he didn't learn. Why? We learn from this Dechemid, who Rabbi Chaim mentions in his book, that we mentioned before. והאדם שלמד ויודע את הנה מלב ובכל האופן הולך וצופה בנשים, כתב בספר חסידים שלא רק יענש על עצם מה שצופה בנשים, אלא יענש גם על מה שלמד כבר. There's a guy that already learned that he's not allowed to do certain things, and he still does them. He not only gets punished, we talked about this in the beginning issue, he not only gets punished for the sin, but he gets punished for everything that he learned. Why? Because he didn't learn for the purpose of doing. And the Gemara says in Shabbat that it's better that he didn't come to the world. In another place it says that it was better that the shilya is, how do you say shilya in English? The placenta choked him in his mother's uterus. If he learned not to fulfill, it's better that he didn't come to the world. Because now you're going to get punished double. And Hashem doesn't want to bring you to the world to punish you. So you're putting Hashem in a situation he doesn't want to be in. He wants to reward you. He wants to give you good. You're forcing his hand to punish you. Rashi says someone that learns but is not fulfilling what he learns is like a woman who gives birth to children only to bury them. Like the only reason she wants to have kids is just so she can bury them one day. As crazy as that sounds is what Rashi says. It says you're going to learn Torah, the holiest of holy, the instruction to everything good, and you're not going to use it. Tiferet Yisrael says someone who only fulfills the commandments that he thinks he understands. Not even sure he understands it, doesn't understand it, but this is the one, okay, and this one makes sense to me. Tzitzit, it doesn't make sense to me. I don't like tzitzit. 4 corners, this corner, it's not for me. We don't have the tchelet. You know, people that don't wear tzitzit, they have 550 million excuses. We don't really have the tchelet, and in the Torah it says tchelet, and it also says 4 corners. I'm not wearing 4 corners. And you know, and this, and it's hot, and it's cold, and we live here, and we have 500,000 excuses of why they're not wearing tzitzit. Which, by the way, anyone that's a Jew doesn't wear tzitzit is the biggest friar in the world. Biggest fool in the world. Why? Every second you wear tzitzit, mitzvah. Now, if you don't wear tzitzit, what does it mean? It either means you're a fool, or it means you don't know what a mitzvah is. People in this world, they work an entire life to get one fortune. Entire life. To consume, to have a huge amount of fortune, to be a millionaire, to be a billionaire. But it's one fortune. You don't die with 2 fortunes. You have 1 fortune. You have 10 million, or 5 million, you have 100 million, whatever it is. It's 1 fortune. Your whole life is this. But you die, it stays here, you go somewhere else. Sometimes somewhere else is hot, sometimes it's not so hot. Depends. But the point is, the fortune stays behind. So you work your whole life to give somebody else stuff. Everybody else benefits out of the fortune, not you. Settle. If you spent less effort, you can get 1 trillion times more fortune for every second. If you actually knew what a mitzvah is. 1 mitzvah is worth more than all of the fortune that every human being has ever had from the beginning of time till the end of time combined. For the smallest mitzvah, pick any mitzvah you want. Rabbinical, biblical, whatever you want. Netilat yadayim, tefillin, whatever you want. Big or small. So if you're going to get a mitzvah for every second you wear tzitzit, who's the fool who's not wearing tzitzit? Or they don't know what a mitzvah is. Baruch Hashem, now they know. So now, Tiferet Yisrael is saying, if he's only going to fulfill the mitzvot that he understands, he's using the wisdom that he's gaining to limit God and to limit his commitment to God. He says, God, when I understand what you mean, I'm going to do it. So you're using the chokhmah you're learning to say, this is where we draw the line, me and Hashem. Hashem, I understood. Netilat Yadayim, I understood. I don't want dirty hands anyway. Motzi, I understand. Say thank you when I eat. I got that. I even say thank you to the Mexican sending me a sandwich. I'll say thank you to Hashem that gave me the sandwich also. Give me the money for the sandwich. No problem. Makes sense. Modeh ani lefanecha, melech chai v'kayam. I understand you giving back my soul. No problem. I'll say thank you. I understand those mitzvot. Tefillin, not so much. Put this cow skin on my arm, on my head, has some scrolls in it. I don't really understand it, but a bunch of these Chabadniks are doing it, so you know what, let me just do it. I'll let this one pass. I'll let this one pass, but that's it, that's when we cross the line. Don't start telling me keep Shabbat. Don't start telling me I have to be, look like a human being with clothes on. Don't start telling me stuff like that, because that stuff, I don't understand. We live in Florida, it's very hot. It's almost a rule to be naked. You look unusual if you wear clothes here. He says someone like that is using the chokhmah that he's learning, he's going to the shiur Torah, for what? Not to get closer to God. Tiferet Yisrael is saying he's not using the Torah to get closer to Hashem, he's using the Torah to make a line between him and Hashem. No different than the Meraglim. Instead of the Meraglim, the spies, using the gift that Hashem gave us, land of milk and honey, and showing that we trust Him with full faith, what do they say? We trusted that you took us out of Egypt. We trusted that you protected us in the desert so far. We trusted that you gave us the Torah. All that's good. But giving us new homes, that's where we draw the line, Hashem. Let us check what neighborhood you're going to build them at. Let me check the neighborhood. Let me see if there's a pool hall, a movie theater. Let me see if there's a nice basketball court there. Oh, yeah, maybe a yeshiva for the kids. Yeah, just not too big because you don't want to get infected with too much religion. So they use the religion, what? They use the Torah, the chokhmah that Hashem gave them, for what? To make a line. Not to connect to Hashem, to separate from Hashem. Tikkun Moshe is saying that the point of your Torah learning is supposed to be implemented in a way that you're using this wisdom to create protective fences for yourself from your own Yetzer Hara, because only you know your Yetzer Hara better than anybody else. So you know your limitations. You know that certain things attract you, certain things don't attract you. If someone, for example, used to be a drug addict, they know that they can't be around certain people that still do it, go to parties, talk about it. If somebody used to have a problem wasting seed, they know that they can't be around certain women unless they're with their wife and they can protect their eyes, and even then, you should be careful. Somebody has a gambling problem, they know they shouldn't hang out with the old friends they used to play poker with, and so on and so forth. So this wisdom that you're learning from the Torah, you're supposed to use it to protect yourself. Not to separate yourself from Hashem. But the only type of wisdom that can actually do this is wisdom that you worked hard for. Meaning wisdom that you learned through learning Torah by effort, not just by it was easy for you. It's known that in the early stages of childhood, there are many, many kids that excel in school, in yeshivot. But later on, they fail miserably in the bigger yeshivot and don't even make it to kollel. And the kids that were less smart and less talented end up surpassing them many times. Now, logically, this doesn't make sense. If this guy was born with a very high IQ, he's gotten, the the memory gift, where he's got photographic memory. He looks at a page and he remembers the whole thing. Naturally, you would think this guy, he's going to be Gdol Adol. You were gifted photographic memory. You look at a page, like Chavad, you would look at a page and remember every single word. On the way from yeshiva, he would walk as young guys. Him and Rav Tzion Abba Shaul would walk, instead of taking the bus, they would walk all the way home for an hour, and Rav Avadia would repeat one of the pages that he looked at before he left, and Rav Tzion Abba Shaul would elaborate on it. They'd learn together by Rav Avadia saying what he saw, what's written on the page, and Rav Tzion would actually delve into it, as if the book is right in front of them. So many people wish they had such a gift. Some people have this gift, and instead of using it to become Talmid Chacham, to be a Gaon, what do? They memorize phone books. They tell you the phone number of Mr. Smith in Oklahoma, and Mr. Stevenson in the town of Lawrence. You idiot. You have the gift that everyone is dying to get. What do you use it for? To learn a phone book. To remember what the newspaper said. There used to be a guy would go to one of the huts over there, look at the newspaper once in a few minutes, go back to the yeshiva, and the rest of the day give a lecture to everyone about what he read in the newspaper, because he remembered every single word. Instead of memorizing the entire Gemara, instead of memorizing the entire Tanakh, the entire Shas, the entire Zohar, the books that have the secrets to life, what are you memorizing? Newspapers. You're memorizing who died today, who didn't die today, who's a terrorist, who's not a terrorist, who's running around half naked, who's expecting to have a baby. Mamash, the biggest foolishness known to man, this generation. Instead of using this gift for something good, they take it for granted. Why? Because they didn't work hard for it. Where the guy that didn't have the memory, in order for him to remember a daf Gemara, he had to sweat. He had to go over it 100 times. He's going to become Talmid Chacham. Why? Because already as a kid, he got used to working hard. This is why any parent that loves their kid should stop helping them so much. Parents that do homework for their kids are destroying them. If you're doing homework for your kid, you are destroying your child. You are doing something evil, because you are showing your child an unrealistic world. Oh, but the work is so hard. Why? All the other kids? It's not hard for them too? What, the teachers are all demented? They don't know that your kid and all the other kids can't spell? No, they can, because they're already 10 years old. They should be able to spell by now. You don't need to do their homework. No, but he's busy. What? Playing video games? What is he busy with? Oh, his friends. What's his friends going to do for him in Olam HaBa? So all these parents that are doing their kids' homework, you are creating a monster. You're destroying your child. Your child is going to be a lazy person. He's not going to be successful in life. I'm not talking about make money, maybe he will, maybe he won't. But in reality, most likely he won't. Unless Abba gives it to him. He's going to get used to getting handouts. He's going to walk into a job right after school that you paid $1 zillion for, expecting to make just as much money as the CEO he saw on TV. I used to have these kids come to my job, asking for a job. And I tell them, okay, so starting salary is this and this. Like, what? I just graduated Harvard. I just graduated this one. I just graduated that one. I said, congratulations. All that graduation is worth this much to me. You want to go somewhere else? Oh, he goes, I don't have anywhere else to go to. I'm like, okay, so this is what it's worth. Everyone else is telling you it's not worth anything. I'm at least giving you a value. Yeah, but I thought this. I'm like, you thought mistaken. It's not my problem you owe $250,000 to college. It's not my problem that you were a philosophy major for the last 800 years. Makes no difference to me. I need you for a specific job. What is that job? You call Mr. Jones, you tell him, Mr. Jones, Ron Reuven's on the phone. Hold on 1 second. Mr. Reuven, Mr. Jones on the phone. Okay, thank you. I take the phone. That's your skill set. Yeah, but I know how to write. Your writing skills are useless to me. All I need you to do is dial a phone for me. Dial the number. Here's the phone number. Here's the name. Here's the address. Make sure you call the state at the proper times. Don't call California at 8 o'clock in the morning in New York, because that's 5 o'clock in the morning. They'll sue me. Only start calling at 11. All your job is to connect me to Mr. Jones. That's your job, and I'll pay you for it. Yeah, but I have a degree. In what? Communications. Exactly. You're communicating with Mr. Jones. Yeah, but I used to be an A student. When? In 8th grade, when your mom was doing your homework? When? That's what it's worth. These kids think that they're supposed to make $100,000 a year. It's wrong. These kids think they're supposed to be millionaires before they're 30. That's wrong. Nothing is supposed to be. Nothing. The fact that you're alive is a miracle, bichlal. But if you are enabling the kids by doing everything for them, you're destroying them. Doing their homeworks, giving them a reward every time they get 6th place in the competition. There's a, what is that, attendance trophy or participation trophy? You should call it a different name, loser trophy. You're a loser, you got a trophy for it because we feel bad for you and your parents paid $500. You are creating losers. This is what we're learning here. Why? Because the reality of it is, if you want the wisdom to stay, you have to work hard for it. You want something to stay, you have to work hard for it. You want to appreciate something, you want to work hard for it. And I'll give you my own personal test. My own personal test is an example that I have a tough time with regularly. It's very hard for me. In the business world, it's to make a lot of money, as many people know. And people will be willing to pay me not just to hear my voice as far as advice for all types of things, but also to speak and so on. In so many words, at the height of my career, I was making about $3,000 an hour. Meaning 1 hour of my precious time was worth $3,000. So today, you know, Baruch Hashem, doing Teshuva, doing KIRUV, we follow after our rabbis. And our rabbis, Rav Ephraim, Rav Mizrahi, have told us that the number one job that you're supposed to do is get people to come back to Hashem. That's it. I said, okay, so how much do I make? Nothing. What do you mean? So $3,000 an hour? No, nothing. Wait, so how much do I charge though? Okay, the nothing part I got it. But how much do I charge though? But the nothing, I don't know what that means. But how much do I charge? No, you don't charge anything. What do you mean? So how am I going to live? It's like, Hashem's going to give it to you. This is what they told me a few years ago. I'm like, what do you mean Hashem's going to give it to me? What am I, in the middle of the desert expecting man? Last time I checked, man's not coming down. Especially not to somebody like me. I thought, listen, if I'm Chacham Ovadia, if I'm some Gdol Ador, somebody special, okay, maybe I'll get man. Me, I'm not even going to get a Kit Kat. What am I going to get? I'm going to work for free. Like, yeah. I said, so how am I going to live? It's like the same way you've been living till now. I'm like, that Hashem thing you've been saying. It's like, yeah, that Hashem. So in the beginning, it was very hard for me. I'm like, I don't understand. Okay, fine, giving lectures, no problem. Helping people do Teshuva, no problem. Working 24 hours a day, I'm used to it. But for free? Got these different rabbis, they come to shuls, $50,000, $100,000. A bad speaker gets $1,500 or $2,000. A bad one, guy that just got out of school. He barely knows how to spell. He gets $1,000, $1,500. Decent speaker, $10,000, $15,000. If I go back into, let's say, the business world, for a speech, I can make a fortune. Obama gets $600,000 a speech right now. I'm not going to get $600,000, but I'm definitely not getting free. So this was very hard for me in the beginning. I'm like, I don't understand. But, Baruch Hashem, we listened to our rabbis. So we went. And however Hashem does it, He does it every single month, and Baruch Hashem, we don't like anything. The point is that till this day I struggle with it. Not because I need money, not because I lack anything. Baruch Hashem, everything we need, we have. Why? Because I still have this business mindset that if you don't pay for it, you don't appreciate it. Because that is a realistic mindset in this world. People do not appreciate things they don't pay for. They don't. When Rabbi so-and-so came to BRS, they paid him $50,000, no problem. People spoke about this lecture as if it was Moshe Rabbeinu came there. When another Rabbi so-and-so came there for a Shabbaton, they paid him $12,000 or $15,000. People spoke about it like it was, it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. Now, don't get me wrong, these are Talmidim Chachamim, no disrespect whatsoever. Especially since the Gemara in Masechet Eruvin says that someone that's a mevazeh, a Talmidim Chachamim, sofo b'tzoar otachat, in the end he's going to go into the part of GEHINNOM that has feces. So definitely no mevazeh anybody. Shrecha, you could get $50,000 for a speech, congratulations, no problem. I just never get it. It's hard for me to understand how this system makes sense. Because the reality of it is, the guy that charged $50,000, they talk about him all the time. The guy that charged $15,000, talk about him all the time. All these people that charge money, they talk about them all the time. Nobody does any tshuva, by the way. No one does anything. They just talk about it. And, theoretical. So it's something really, really hard for me to deal with. And that's when I asked them, again, I keep going over this with my rabbis, and they tell me, listen, what do you want? You want to make money, or you want to help people do tshuva? I said, tshuva. I said, okay, tshuva is free. You want to make money? You can't rebuke anybody. You can't tell people the truth. Because no one's going to pay you to tell them they have to do tshuva. No one's going to pay you to tell people they have to work on themselves because they're all reshaim in the eyes of Hashem. No one's going to pay you to tell them that their wife has to throw out the 3 wigs that are $5,000 each. No one's going to pay you to tell them they have to keep Shabbat because the guy with the most amount of money just drove with a Ferrari on Shabbat to your lecture. No one's going to pay you for that except him. So that's what we do. So, oh Hashem, there's different miracles on a regular basis. Different people donate. People sponsor CDs. We have at least get people to sponsor CDs, like, so there's more KIRUV. But it's still hard to make that switch simply because I know the mindset. I know the mindset that when you pay for something, you value it. When you work for something, you value it. If you work for your Torah, it'll last. If you just are using your natural born skills of memory, of intellect to memorize a few things, you won't fulfill that Torah.
To buy up. The bottom line is that these two companies have a huge opportunity. There are only 2 companies in an entire sector. My story doesn't start with religion. My story doesn't start with the truth. My story starts with Alma de Shikra, the world of lies. God gave, God took, may His name be good.